So welcome to Body Designs. This is a live stream for ustream.tv and also recorded for YouTube for people to watch at their leisure. Today I'm in the Johanna Basford Magical Jungle colouring book, and I'm still using my little palette, which is getting paler and paler and paler. Until eventually it's going to look like this one, almost completely clean. So that's what I'm aiming for. And again, this looked a little bit grotty in this corner, but mixed it round. And this paint is from, I made the palette of 18 colours from 3 tubes of Windsor and Newton Cotman, which are student grade, but the pigments are fantastic because this is student grade and these are still going, and I've made hundreds of colours. And all these 18 were made out of 3 tubes: alizarin crimson, lemon yellow and cerulean blue. And I made a video a while ago about colour mixing with computer inks, because I bought a new computer, sorry, a printer ink. I bought a printer and it had bottles of ink, and I thought, ooh, what can I do with the drops that are left in the bottom of these bottles? And there's a cyan, a magenta and a yellow, and that gave me the idea I thought, well, if the printer can mix all these colours, so can I. So I got about 650. It's a few videos back. There's about 650 colours, because I took all the colours with the complementary colours to grey. So we had some gorgeous greys and nice colours. And again, these were the 18 colours. And what I did, you can't see, but I labelled them. So if I, to bore everybody again, but what I did is I had alizarin crimson and cerulean blue and lemon yellow here. So I took alizarin crimson and lemon yellow and made an orange. I put a touch of orange into the alizarin crimson and made cadmium red, which is a cold red. I then put a touch of orange into a lemon and I made cad yellow, a warm yellow. I took cerulean blue, which is a cold blue, and I took alizarin crimson and I made a purple. I took a touch of purple and put some in another touch of cerulean blue and made a very poor, but my best attempt at a warm purpley blue. Not very French ultramarine, but a purpley blue. I then put the lemon yellow with the cerulean blue and got a beautiful bright green. I put a touch of the green into the yellow and I got a lemon green. So I ended up with the tertiary colours in between every primary and secondary colours. And the tertiary colours are quite as important as the primaries. So that gave me all these colours from 3 tubes of paint, and they were 99p. So I was dead chuffed with that. But I want to use all these colours, and as I say, I've done about 6 pages now. Started out very vibrant colours, and now I've ended up with some extremely pale ones because I just keep adding water. And then I've got this kind of muddy colour here, which has turned out to be the most beautiful warm grey for this elephant. Whereas normally anybody in their right mind would have said, "I'll just get rid of that, Heather. Just wash it down the drain." This palette is going to be completely bare. Every scrap of colour is going to be in this book. This is what this book is going to be about. So I'm playing with 3 paintbrushes. They're all riggers because you can get a lovely smooth effect. I'm not doing, as I use in other books, the watercolour effect. This is just beautiful flat colours using these. So I've got 3 Pro Art Series 103. There's a number 6, a number 5 and a number 3. And that's given me quite sufficient to get to some tiny spaces and some really big spaces. So I'm going back into here and I've sprayed it with water. That's all I've done. So and reconstituted them all, give them a little bit of a mix each individually. So I really want a lot of that colour off there, because this is still a colour page, it's not watercolour. So I'm going to try, it's going to be a bit difficult unless I do that darker. I've decided it's going to be too difficult to go there and get a flat colour. So, and again, that's too wet, but if I'm really quick, I can tease this colour around with this damp brush. And there was really very little in that brush, but it's given me enough to get round this elephant. And I'm going to try and go around this. I don't think I'll make it if I want it without any marks. But it's not bothering me too much. Again, this is quite very fast and loose way of working for me. But I've learnt over the last few months to use different books in different ways. Sometimes I want to be really precise, and other times I just want to sit and just enjoy colouring. And this book has taught me this. So I want a little tiny bit of a darker colour for the legs. So I'm just going to take a touch of that blue in there and just add it to this. And that's actually the wrong brush. I'm going to go for the little brush. What I can do is, I've got the colour on here. If I just touch that, I can tease that about. This is not a wet brush though. I do need a wet brush. So if I just touch colour in here, and this is a damp brush. It's not wet, it's just damp, and I can tease that colour around. And there wasn't enough blue in there, so I can do it another way. I can take all that there, and I can just touch it here, because this is my elephant colours. Now that's not the right, because it's too cold. These are connecting, so I actually don't want that. So I'm going to go in this corner and see if I can get something. I want something darker but connected, if that makes any sense. Again, it's not quite the colour I was after. So I'm just going to see if I can. And basically, I'm playing with what would normally be like dirty water, mud, really. That's roughly what this is. But I think that's a little bit warm. No, quite like that colour. And I once went to a watercolour paint-along, which we used to have at our local art group. And the gentleman was doing a snow scene. And he'd created these trees and this walkway and this fence, and then all of a sudden and the rest of the page was completely white. It was a white watercolour page, and he took his pot of dirty water that he'd been using and he started making marks, and he was making the footprints and the shadows of the trees with dirty water, and left the white of the paper absolutely bare, and that was really amazing. And that told me that even dirty water can be used to make some really nice colours. So I just need to find, I'm just worried about his tail. I'm just going to go in for a bit of a fine brush, because his tail wants to be in. So if you've got any questions, pop them in caps. I think you lost out at Scooby on that one. Scooby Girl says she woke up with frost. Yeah, it was a bit cold. It was a bit nippy in the Abbey this morning, I can tell you. I was at least an hour before I took the coat off. It was a bit nippy, and I'd found a lot of rubbish in my handbag. That will be fine. I took a lot of rubbish in my handbag, so I thought, oh well, I've got 3 lots of paint colours. I don't want 3 trays. Take them out. Took them out, and of course didn't put any back in. So I was all day without any, so that wasn't particularly brilliant. I'm just not sure what to do with that. I quite fancy some brighter colours actually, so I'm just going to have a look in here and see what this is. And again, this is what this particular palette and this particular book is doing. I'm actually playing with colour that little bit more than I normally would. Oh, I can't have mixed that one then. I don't think I want purple. Oh, this would be nice, I think. Have a look. I mean, these colours are getting very pale now. Oh, I like that, yes. These colours are extremely pale now. Extremely pale. But, oh, not his tail. Goodness me, Heather. And that's a little bit too wet. But I'm really enjoying playing with these colours. And I would not mix this colour to go on this elephant. Yeah, the elephant would have been a cold grey, but I've made him a warm grey. So again, completely out of my comfort zone now. But it's still quite enjoyable. And then I need to go back into that grey before I lose it completely, just to make sure that I can keep his tail the same colour as the rest of him. So I quite like that. I think it's worked out quite well, considering in fact I'm using up paint. Oh, thank you, Scoopbit, thank you. So we've got some flowers here, and there's some green leaves. So again, I'm going in with the green. And I don't normally like, this is like the, what do we call this green? I can never remember. What do we call this green? It's a watered down version of it. A phthalo green, or Fred's green. And I don't particularly like it, but I mean, this is extremely pale. You can hardly see that. It's very pale, but it is there. It is colour. Maybe I put too much water, sprayed too much water. But again, it's quite nice to play with very pale pastel colours. I'm just going to go into this one. And that's just a little bit wetter than I like. But having said that, this paper will take it. It's very good for that. So it's lent itself really well. And again, it's just an easy way to colour. So it's a very pleasant way. And sometimes I'm just going to go with a touch of this because I just want those petals to be slightly darker. Again, you just got to be a bit careful because it's just a bit too wet, that really. But they're just a tad darker because they are behind the others. And again, you know, I wouldn't have come up with that colour. I would have wanted it to be bright yellow or something. So I'll go in this one. Now there is another green over there. This is quite a dark. What's this one doing? And of course we've got this yellow here. This is a lemon green, this one. This was grey yellow, what I call grey yellow. So it's a green, but it's a yellowy green. And again, that's just to clean the brush. Because it is a big brush, is this? And this is very loose, this. But I would not have thought about doing lemon greens in a blue bottle. Don't actually know what colours I would have used, but I would have probably mixed lots of other different colours. But I'm pretty sure I would not have used these colours. But when I finish this book, it's going to be full of unusual colours and combinations that I would never have thought of if I hadn't have had a limited palette. That's the cat in the corner, proving she's got nails, claws. Thank you, Terry. Thank you. Again, it's something that I would not have normally done. I'm going to go up here because there's a green, and I've put some lemon in it now. I put some lighter green. It was pale. It was darker than that, so I've put the yellow brush into there, and there was quite a lot of colour. And I can have a look and see what colour is that. So that's actually quite a nice green now, but it's a pale green. Now I can see the colour. If I zoom down a smidgen, you'll be able to see too that I am just not playing with muddy water. There is a little bit of a brain somewhere. So you can see these. It could be an avalanche. Just a second. Sorry. I'm putting these quite pale greens, and that's the same. That's the same flower. So again, that's another thing that I don't really do. So that's some. I like that green, but I think that other one's a different green. So I'm going to go with maybe this one. I mean, probably going to end up where there isn't going to be a lot of colour, I have to say. And because I've just taken that off there, it's not a puddle anymore, it's now a dark green. I hope everybody can see that. Am I still in frame? So I can do this one here as well. And I just find it a really relaxing way of colouring. And it's very quick. It's quicker than a lot of ways. There's a little bit of grass under here. Again, I've got a lot of this yellow pale on here, so we'll have some pale grass. I can pick out if there's any others, but there isn't. This is quite nice here, so I might just pick that off and do that, because I think that could all be a leaf. I think these could be very pale yellow. And it's really, really quick is this way of working, very quick. Probably the quickest of all the ways I do in all the books. This has got to be the quickest. Oops. You still got to concentrate because you go out of the lines if you don't concentrate. But again, all the bendy pressure is all in the little brushes. There's no pressure on my hand at all. It's all in that bendy bit there, which is quite nice. So I can stroke colour into this paint all day long. And I don't get home and think, oh, my hand's killing me. So I quite like that colour. It's very vibrant. A lot brighter than I would normally work. There's one there as well, but now that one is slightly darker, so I'm going to just see if I can scrape a little bit of colour off here. And I've put a touch of the one next door hopefully just to give that a bit of shadow. It's slightly darker, and that's worked quite well. Sorry, I'm in the walkways. The dining room is a walkway, and unfortunately everybody wants to come through. So again, I'm going to do this one a really dull grey, a dark grey green. This is the smallest brush. I shouldn't have done it with this brush. Can you? I quite like that. I've made a mark on there, but actually, let me just clean the brushes up. So I've got a damp brush. I'm just popping into this purpley one here, and just see what it is. Take as much as I can off, and then I want colour, but I don't want puddles. And there's a little ladybird there. So if I do each individual one separate, I can push a little bit paler, and then this one I can push this colour up here. And again, remember this is a damp brush, so I can get the watercolour effect if I want. But I have to wet that brush every time, so it's completely clean is that brush, but it's damp. And I can push the colour up. That is extremely pale, is that? And I must admit, I quite like the flatness of this kind of way of working. Now I might just struggle. And again, I would never have put those two colours together, but I quite like them. It's hubby. Bless him, he's been upstairs to get the washing, to put the washing on. Hubby does everything. I just sit here like a lemon. So my daughter's been cleaning buses all day, bless her. So again, I'm not sure what colour that is. It's a bit of a dirty colour, that, so I'm not really enamored with that. So we'll. The only thing is I forget is it's almost dry. So it's still quite a fairly dry way of working. So I've got a really nice lemon up here. So we could do this lemon. This would be nice lemon. Quite a bright yellow. The guys say hi, Nigel.
Yeah. Love you.
Thank you. Love you too. I think he loves me. I don't think he loves you. Bless him. Oh, I've got a good hubby. Yes, I have. Bless him. I have. Bless his socks. Oh dear me. That's little trouble. That's grumpy old trouble. Oopsie. You don't want it too wet. They just gotta be a bit careful. It's not a wishy-washy way of working, really. You know, it's still a nice colour book. I'm not slapping paint down, although it looks like I am. It looks like I'm slapping paint down, but I'm not. It's just a really nice way. The paper is very good quality, and you can just get away with being that little bit wetter than you can with some other colour books. So it depends what mood you're in. I love doing this when I'm not thinking about it too much. Again, with this, I pick a colour, I do it. Some of the others I and ah and change my mind, and, whereas this one I know that I just want to get on with it. Now I really like this. It's a bit stronger than a cad yellow, but it's not a cad orange, but it's still got some nice colour to it, so I really like this one. So I thought I'd do those flowers. Would help if I'm in frame, wouldn't it? Sorry about that. I don't think there's any more of those, but I do like that colour that's left. And if I go in the one next to it, this was the next orange, so it's almost identical to these. There's just a little bit in it. The one's a yellow and one's just got that little bit of red. That's a tertiary yellow orange colour. So if I kept that quite dry, and if you don't want to lose it on the tissue, just draw a bit on here, and then by the third stroke you should be about right, and then you can just go in here. Now I am actually going over it a bit, but it's forgiving me, so that's quite nice. Some colour books are forgiving and some aren't. And then we want a little bit of green on that one, so I'm going to use this green. And again, it's going to be too wet, so if I take a lot off, I've got the palest of greens in colours that I would never put that green next to that yellow. Would never have done that. So although I am actually using colour up, I'm really enjoying painting in this kind of way. And I'm definitely not just slapping any old thing in there. It's, which I hope nobody thinks that I am just thinking, well, I'm just using up paint, which I am using up paint. And again, I like that colour. So this is a little bit pinky, a pink colour. So I'm going to get rid of that yellow. I'm going to bring this away so I know this. I've got this handy. And then I can just tease that colour. It's dried. I can just tease that colour around. Because there's a lot of colour on that big brush. And it's slightly redder than the purple one at the front, so that makes, I must have gone into the one next to it, and again that makes it connected. Even though it's a red next to a purple, these two colours are almost identical apart from a little tiny bit more red than orange, and that's the only difference. And because they are connected, when you put them next to each other, it does a really strange thing. I'm sure some psychologists and colourists can tell me what it is, but there is a thing about colours being next to each other. So you've got a reddy one and a pink one, but they are next to each other. There's another little one there, and I've forgotten what colour I used on that. I think it was this one. That's a bit too purple, so it must have been this one. And this one has almost gone, so I've almost used that one up. So again, I'm just going to use this brush to tease this colour around, and that's a little bit too much there. So thanks for joining me, everybody. I do appreciate people popping in and out. And everybody's got busy places. It is a different one, but never mind. I can use this one behind it as a slightly different colour. That was a little bit too pale, was that? It is getting... I probably sprayed it twice with water, and I should have sprayed it once, but I really like these subtle colours, I have to say. And they're really not normally like me. Some really, really pale colours there. And because all the water's gone to the bottom of here like a dirty muddy pool, that's quite a nice... Well, it would have been if I put red in it. Just put red in it. I'm probably getting a little bit too wishy-washy now, so I need I do need a bit of a green in there. I knew this would be very pale. So I've put a tiny bit of purple into that green to make it that little bit different. So I've got some nice greens going on. I think that's a stem. And then I've got the ivy to do, so the ivy will have to be we can have some very pale ivy leaves. I think I almost have to say I'm not going to get very many more out of here now. I have to admit defeat, I think. Before the colours completely disintegrate. I do like these colours here. I always wanted those to be pale. And I've missed a tiny bit on the other side there, but I can't really do very much about it now. Because I definitely do not have any of this blue left. So I think I'll do that one, this green. There still is a little bit of colour left in here though, but as I say, lovely pastel colours. And a lot of these are the tertiary colours, so these are the colours you can get. And I'll probably try and do that when I do the Derwent colour book, the Derwent pencils in the colour book, in the watercolour book. I'll take two colours and put them together, and you can do that with a Caran d'Ache as well. So you're mixing the two crayons together on paper to make a different colour paper palette that nobody else has got that colour because you've mixed it. And again, there's something quite nice about mixing your own colours. And even though I've mixed these, this water, adding water to them, has got some really gorgeous colours. Oh, sorry, Marie, if you're not well. It's there's some nasty things going about at the moment. Now, see, in here, there seems to have been some green mud here, so I'm going to take that. And I'm going to test it first. Oh, and that's nice and dark. I should have gone for a bigger brush, really, but again, it's a nice flat colour. And I think this book lends itself to really flat colour. I've just got a light just in the way when I try to see that. And again, this is an unusual colour that, you know, is not an easy colour to mix. It's probably a bright green with French ultramarine in it. Because it's definitely got a touch of red in it, you can see. And again, that looks quite nice next to that very, very pale grey green. Oh, it would be better if I didn't go out the lines, wouldn't it? And as long as I have a fairly dry brush, I can go in there without changing the colour. And it's a bit easy on a bit bigger brush. And I'm getting paler and paler now, so I've got a natural highlight down there. It's, again, you know, if it happens, it's there. Not sure about this mud colour here. I don't know what this one is. As I say, I'm it's a little bit of a big brush, is this, but is that size brush is probably better. So I can get some quite pale ones out there. And if you want it darker, you can go over it again to get another darker colour. So the telephone's going now. It's a madhouse where I live. Sorry about this. And again, this might be a bit of another different colour. Oops, I think this brush is a little bit too fat for that. We might just get away with it. And there's a little bit of a different thing on there. So, see, it is slightly different, that one. So that means I can use the pale yellow one back up there. But there's some really subtle greens there that I wouldn't use normally. Well, thank you. I must admit I'm not really a pastel girl, but I'm just trying to use these colours up, and it's just lending itself to doing that. Now if I twist that, again, that's giving me, I'm going to use a smaller brush actually. There's a lot of water on this, so you want a damp brush, and you take a lot of that dampness off. I think I'm going to use this bright yellow again. I really like this bright yellow. I really like this colour, and I think it'll make these pop down here. And again, that was a little bit wet, so I'll try that off. this is a very dry brush now, and quickly get this stroke down there so that it'll just fill that one. And because you've got a big brush, it picks up quite a lot of colour. And I would never have dreamt to putting all these colours together and messing about with different kind of colours. I would be, you know, that's one green, that's another green. But because these colours are just almost next to each other, it kind of lends itself to, you see, I think that's a bit too dark now, so I might just have to mix a greeny colour. So, because I think that's just a bit too dark, so. Because I've got quite a bit of that purple, and who'd have thought that that purple and that yellow makes that green? So a purple, and that's because it's got the French ultramarine in it, you see, that's why. So I've just managed to make a different green just to keep going, because I've obviously got some yellow and purple to get rid of, and I've got another one there, in there. This one looks the same. And if I just look here, I've got another one, so stroke the colour into here. And if I take that a step darker, I can do these. I just hope I've got enough colour on there. The one behind it is a little touch darker, so a little bit more. And then this one's that colour. And I've got those greens up there, so they could be quite pale. So if I put some yellow into this mix, and again that's a little bit of a, I do want a bit of a fairly dry brush for this, because it's not too bad. So that's given me a new lease of life now, using those colours up and mixing these colours. So I still get some more greens out, which is quite nice. And all these are coming from that bright purple and the bright yellow. And I quite like green, and I'm going to go this way as well. Get rid of all these little ones. And again, the rigger allows you to do quite a few before you run out of paint. So again, I quite like that. You're not going back to your palette every 2 minutes. If you were doing pencils or pens, you'd have to go pick another one up and go change, and don't fancy doing that. And I think these are going to have to be that colour as well. And there's these, I think, going to be a bit darker, these little diddy ones up here. Oh, thank you, Scooby. I thought you said so uninteresting. I thought it was so uninteresting. I thought boring everybody to death. It is like watching paint dry, though, so I do apologise. I'm going to use my brain and use the little tiny 20 Artmaster 55 rigger, because I think these are a bit tiny for a big brush. And I've darkened that green very slightly with another touch of purple, so change the colour again. So I don't know how many greens I've had out of these two, but again, that's quite nice to know that that's what you can do. I do need a very dark green for this stem, and that's quite nice because I've gone over it in blue in parts, so that's quite nice. And there's some more of these little diddy ones here. If I just take the edge off, I can get those coloured in. There is a cat on the printer. I apologise if you mouse. I quite like those colours, and they're, as I say, really not my normal colours. I'm a bit obsessed by this bright yellow. I do like it. So as soon as we've got it, I may as well use it again here. So I'll do the Kirby Roseannes in about 20 minutes. I'll do the Kirby Roseannes in a little bit. But I've got a lot of that deep purple. I don't know if I like it, but I might do. So just bear with me 2 seconds. I've got a little bit there. And then we had this stem, and I've got that blue there. I've missed the blue, and the only blue I've got is this, so I'm just going to have to fill that in. I think I've got everything apart from the pebbles, so I think I quite fancy those to being purple. I don't know why I do them individually. I suppose I could draw on them all, but and just find. Oh, I've got a little bug there, so I'm probably going to go back. Oh, see, no, the problem I've got with this is it's a different colour. kind of want to go back and do the ladybug. The ladybird, a bright colour. But then I might make her yellow bug because they have yellow ladybugs. So I've got that vivid yellow, so I think I might just make her a yellow bug, yellow ladybug. Oh, bye, Scooby Girl. Have a good day. It's the giveaway at about 4 o'clock, about 20 minutes, 15 minutes. I think I might do the ladybug bright yellow. There we are. So what else have I got to do now? I need to go around the edge, and I haven't got many colours left to me now. I suppose the red orange is quite nice. The orange is gone, but the red orange is quite nice. And before I do that, I've got to go around the greens first, haven't I? I've got to go around these greens, and I've forgotten about that. So I should finish this in about 15 minutes, and then we'll have to do our giveaway for reaching 100 YouTube followers, I think. I have 100 YouTube followers. Don't actually know how many I've got. I'm losing my marbles. But I'm so pleased everybody's enjoying these videos that I'm doing. This is just an experiment, but it's working out okay. And I think I'm going to have to go for the smaller brush. I think there's still a little bit of green left in there. It's always a good idea to be comfortable, otherwise you go through your lines. I'm sorry about this, it's feeding time at the zoo. What, darling? I don't know, I've got to do my giveaway. Why? Are you desperate for my company?
I'm sorry, has my package come yet?
I think I've been out today, darling. Just have a look and see if the stew needs to put the things in. Did Daddy not turn it on? Oh, bless. My little girl's hungry. Sam, please shut the door, darling. Thank you. Thank you. That was the lurcher bouncing about like she... The lurcher bounces about like she's a spring chicken. You'd think there'd be 10 dogs in there with the patters of tiny feet, wouldn't you? There's only 3. So again, it's quite unusual, but I'm going to do that the darker red, so I've got to go in here with the greens to finish these greens off. It reminds me of Teddy Wogan with Eat Your Greens. Behave and be good.
No.
behave and be good. Stop it and sit down. Big bad I said no. Sorry, I don't know where that came from. Obviously there's nobody around that's my age. Sorry, couldn't resist that. Big bad I said no. I'm just going to give this leaf here.
Dad, where's Alfie's harness?
Whoopsie. That's the old terrier, the grumpy. Deaf as a post, barks and growls, but of course can't hear himself, so he can make as much noise as he wants because he can't hear himself. Alfie. Tribble, come here, Tribble. God, I'm really sorry about this. Oh my. Alfie's wearing his name out again. Big bad Alfie. It's a madhouse. I should have thought about that. Between 4 and 5, it's a madhouse. It's walking time and feeding time. So I do apologise. When I used to make my videos, I would take hours and hours out because there'd be a bark here and a grumble there and 100 barks, and then I would cough, and so I apologise about streaming, but it's just so much easier. Anyway, so I need a little bit of pink round here, a deeper pink. Oh my, now they put the kettle on. Terrors. Oopsie. Now this is a little bit darker, but not much. But it's not as wet, but it looks as if it's darker, but it isn't. So if you've got any questions, pop them in caps. I'm just going to finish this bit off and just going to go around the edge, and then we'll do the giveaway, and then I'll have to get my girls to fill it. Well, it'll be Sam, because oh, mind you, she might be able to do it this weekend. If I tell them what to do, they may do that for me. So I've got an edge, and I've got I have a red, and red, but I wanted that. I quite like that colour because it's dark. I think I'm going to do it the dark colour. So if you look here, there's still a fair bit of colour, but quite a lot's gone now. Quite a lot's gone. So I won't, but there is a lot of this kind of almost a Payne's grey. Almost a Payne's grey. So I'm going to, because it's a neutral colour, I'm going to use this. So I need to really be, and again that was that little bit. That was just a little bit. Tease the colouring with that and then stroke it through with it. And again, I wouldn't normally use grey because I think grey is a bit ugh, but it's just that bit different. And these colours are now getting very, very pale. But I just wanted to know just how far I could take it, and if I could actually get a completely pale, clean palette. I've done it before, but it takes hours. I have done it before, but it takes a long time. But I did manage to get out of 36 paintbrushes, probably about that size, full of paint. I got 20 pages of really, really patterned pages out of the colours, from deep colours to pale colours. So that's quite impressive. That's 20 pages. That's almost, you know, a book or half a book. Out of, I was putting the Gansai Tambi watercolours in my colour book, and every time I obviously got a nice fat puddle of colour, I had a nice fat paintbrush full of colour. And normally you'd just do that and then get rid of it, and I didn't. I used it, and I kept dipping it in water when it went dry, and I got 20 pages out of it, which I thought was pretty amazing. Having said that, it took me all day. But it taught me about how much paint you waste, even in your paintbrush. When you're doing your colour swatches, and you do your colour swatch, and then you put your brush in your water. That's why I show my water. There's a bit of yellow in there. That's all the water I'm throwing away. And when I do the watercolouring, I don't use any. I don't waste any paint, because the brush is damp and the paint's on the end, and when it goes to pale to nothing, there's no paint there to waste. So I go back for some more. And that really is being a tight Yorkshire lass. That is not wasting a drop. So I've got at least 5 or 6 pages from a palette that I would have years ago thrown away. I don't know where the cat's deciding. It's just looking at me as the cat. Either she's thinking this woman's crackers because she's talking to herself, or she's thinking, why isn't she getting me up, getting my supper? And again, I would never have normally put that grey there, but I quite like it. I'm trying to stay in frame here. But again, that grey next to that lime colour is quite unusual. And I would never have used this colour or mixed this colour. It isn't a Payne's, it could be a Payne's grey. It's got French ultramarine in it. And it's a bit of a warm grey, so it could be a Payne's grey. And I always said I would never use it out of a tube, and then I found it in my acrylics. I think I bought it years ago thinking, oh, that's all the fuss about Payne's grey, but when I made it by accident at uni, we had a colour project, and I've told this story before, so I apologise if I'm boring everybody. I was doing a really fine, detailed thing for my colour theory, and I broke my elbow. I tell a lie, I broke my wrist. Did I break my wrist or did I break my elbow? I can't remember, but I was in pot up to my wrist, and I'm left-handed, and it was like, okay then, it's 3 weeks to our final. how am I going to get out of that one? So I decided to make 24 colour squares and take them from black to their original colour. So again, I had my 2 yellows and my 2 blues and my 2 reds. And the background, I'd found this Payne's Grey acrylic and thought, oh, that'll do for the background, because this was 5 by 5 foot, or maybe even 6 foot by, no, it's 5 by 5 foot, 5 foot by 5 foot, this canvas, and I had to make some squares. So I put the sellotape round, or the tape, and I painted with my right hand with a paintbrush, as in a decorator's paintbrush, because I couldn't use a paintbrush, and I have not much control over this hand. And I took the blue, I can't remember how I did it. Or did I make Payne's Grey? I can't remember. But when we counted, I got into trouble because there was a colour missing. There was a square missing. I think I'd taken them from blues to reds, I think, to make all the greys. And they said, you've got a colour missing. And I went, don't be silly. And obviously I'd made Payne's Grey by mistake. Well, not by mistake, but I'd made perfect Payne's Grey, which had completely disappeared, and you could only see it if you looked against the light, because obviously I'd made mine with a different acrylic, and so since then I've always made my own Payne's Grey, because I don't know if I've got the tube. Have I got a tube of that? I got it handy. I've only got one tube of paint. I've only got one pot. I bet she can't find it. Without an avalanche. Oops. No, it's not there. It's not the. I think it could be the Liquitex one. It's the only one I've got. I think my daughter might have used it. But some of them on the tubes, they tell you on the big pots. Can't believe I haven't got it. But on the side, I mean, this is poster paint, but on the side it will say, and it says Payne's Grey. It tells you what it's made out of. So it's got French ultramarine, which is PB, isn't it? French ultramarine. I can't remember now. And it will tell you. So most of this is gone now as well. And I would never have thought of putting grey on here. So it's making me really think about colours. If I just go in there with a dark, whoops, with a dark colour. Just so I love making greys because they're just unusual. You can take a red from a black to a red. Actually, I've just realised Payne's Grey can't be French ultramarine, and I do have a nice brown. It can't be. It's got to be black and French ultramarine and lamp black. It's either lamp black or Mars black. I think it's Mars black, because that's what I was doing for my colour theory. I took them from black to red and every colour in between. That's what I did. I've forgotten what I'd done. So actually Payne's Grey can't be brown. Payne's grey's got to be cold. French ultramarine to black. Pretty sure it's black, but I think it's finished, but I still have a little bit of colour left. I'm not going to get rid of this colour, am I? God, sorry about that, guys. This has got to be the boring thing on the planet. Let me just see if I can just tap that.
You were the first to sit. Goodbye.
So, I would never have put these colours together. Stop jumping, silly thing. Never put these colours together. But there's another one, and I've still got a fair amount of colour. So, what time is it now? Oh, 7 minutes past. Now, I don't know really how to do this, so you'll have to bear with me. This is for our giveaway, and again, I'm not sure how you keep addresses and emails private, so you're going to have to help me on that one. But I will make a little book very similar to this one. With the colours in it. And I said I made a mistake because I shouldn't have done one for Ustream. I should have done one for YouTube, but never mind. Hey ho, hey ho. But I don't know what I can do about that now, because obviously I've only got one. So is that okay? The other thing is it is gonna take me a little bit of a time to do it, because if the girls can't do it, I'm hopefully going to ask them this weekend. While they're watching TV, they can do it. Don't know what that is sticking in there. I don't know what that is, but I'll get it on. I've obviously put something on there, and it's gone a bit yuck. But if I make the pages and then put them in between, there'll be another book. What do we think to that? I think that'll work quite well, because there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There's 15 pages, or at least 14, 15 pages in that one. And I think we have the same with that one, don't we? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, there's about the same in each one. So it'll hold about 24 photographs, so that's probably the same. What time is it? So it's 4 o'clock. So did I say 4 o'clock my time? Anybody remember what I said last week about the giveaway? Was it 4 o'clock my time? I can't remember. I just can't remember. Well, I'm going to stop this. I'll stop this video because I've been waffling on. So